George
Kevin
just had
is
to
stressing out. We're in the local newspaper today, and Kevin's trying to get through this video. Like he's got fucking exorcist.
I'm all fired up, man. Oh my god. Hey man, look, check this shit out, man. Did you get the picture? We are in the local newspaper, okay?
The newspaper?
Newspaper. We're in the local newspaper, all right? And we're fired up about it. I mean, we were in the Washington Post, but now we're in the local newspaper, and George and I are literally running around to my neighbor's house still in their local newspapers. That's our shit, man. That's some good shit. That's because of you guys, man. Now, go to uncutgear.com. I know we're pushing our shit, and we're going to continue to push our shit. Check out all these designs. We get new ones coming up. Actually, man, we got these candy skull designs. They're like Grateful Dead shit. Them motherfuckers are fucking nasty.
Look, and when you're done doing that, run over to Facebook, add me as a friend. I don't hide much. It'll be there. If you don't want to find me on Facebook, go to uncutg.blogspot.com. I'll have the link up there later today. And for all you people who've been commenting on my photos, thank you.
Yes.
You get it.
George put some funny shit up.
Yeah.
Now, we'd like to say a big happy birthday to one of our loyal followers, Chris Matthews. Happy birthday, my man. And with that, we are going to move on to UFC 137, which will probably be the first event of many to end the 2011 MMA season.
And for us who just watched UFC 136 and thought that card was good, well, I think this one could be better.
It could be. And we're going to start out with a preliminary bout that we figured that we just have to talk. It'll be on Spike TV.
Yep. The German Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Dennis
versus
Siver
the Cowboy.
Versus Donald Cerrone.
Dude, when Tap Out, if you didn't know, Tap Out before Mass passed away, they did a reality show on Versus. They would go to these camps and they would pick up a fighter who, looked young and promising.
Right.
They went to the pit and picked up Antonio, and they would hang out with these guys just to see the business. And Donald Cerrone was one of them.
Right.
Because they helped him out. They helped him get into the WEC, and it was pretty impressive. So with that said, I think Cerrone is going to maybe not knock him out, but it's going to be a slugfest.
It's going to be a nasty fight because, I mean, both of these guys will come at you. They'll come forward. Like you said, Cerrone's all of his fights are exciting as shit.
And so Siver.
And Siver, the last two fights we saw with him.
He can take a shot, boy. Because here's my theory on that.
Okay.
If you look at the people who can take a shot to the head and still live through it, they usually don't have a long neck.
No.
It's these guys with these short, stumpy necks that are just running around like this. The only problem is Siver's arms are about. That's why I call him the German Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's me, because my head literally sits on my shoulders.
My head is my shoulders.
George, on the other hand, George's head is a planet. Yeah. Hey, man, real quick, never mind. We'll talk about that later. So let's go to the main card, okay? And we're going to start out with the bout between...
George Roop. I got that one. I got that name.
This is okay. I'm gonna try it for all our Japanese followers. I know I'm gonna fucking just hack this shit up, and you guys are gonna give me. But Hatsu Hioki.
Now
Hatsu Hioki is what I'm going with.
He's coming over from. This is another one. Sengoku. I don't know how to say it. I'm not even going to try. This is the part where everybody goes, you guys aren't fucking law MMA enthusiasts. Well, I am, but I can't watch that. That's a Japanese thing. How am I going to see that?
Yeah,
anyway, he was the featherweight champ there. He decided, you know what? You guys keep the belt. I'm going to the UFC. So
Smart move.
My money's on him. I think he's going to beat Roop.
I think so, too. Vegas agrees with you. They got him as the favorite and Roop as the underdog.
And you know what? If he beats Roop, I mean, the way we've seen, this guy doesn't have a huge name here in the U.S., but maybe if he fights one or two, he can go right in for the feather. I mean, was it Cruz?
Yeah. I mean, those classes are fucking like 400 fucking fighters deep.
Yeah, because they're tiny.
If you hold the belt in one of those smaller, lighter classes, you are the man, in my opinion. Now, moving on to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have a legend in Mirko Crocop
versus Roy Nelson. Now, both these fighters in their last two fights are 0-2. I believe if Roy Nelson loses this fight, this will be his last fight in the UFC.
Right.
I don't think Dana White's a huge fan. Dana White told him, look, you got to get in shape after his last bout against Frank Mir, and he looked horrible. It was Frank Mir's tune-up fight. So I think it's
Roy Nelson. Yeah, I agree with you. And George and I were having the discussion earlier before we cranked on the video camera. It's Roy Nelson, I mean, since he was a champion at IFL, has kind of did a little downhill skid. I mean, he's kind of let himself go a little bit. That's kind of his little trademark thing. I'm fat, whatever. But the bottom line is that you're sucking wind during fights, and it's making you become a sloppy fighter, especially if he's fighting somebody that's not able to get rid of him. You know what I mean? And I think with this, Mirko Crocop has a job in the UFC because he is basically a MMA legend, just like Wanderlei Silva. Both of them don't have the best UFC records, but they're always going to have a job because of their status.
Right.
I don't think the same thing applies to Roy Nelson.
I don't think Dana's in love with him. I think if Crocop dispatches of Roy Nelson, this will be the last time we see Roy Nelson.
Yeah.
So,
he could be.
Now, with that said, who do you have winning this fight?
I got Roy Nelson.
I got Crocop kicking him in the head and putting him to sleep.
I got Roy Nelson. I think Roy Nelson is just going to. I think if Crocop. Crocop can hit you with that foot and just. I think he's going to take him to the ground.
You think Crocop's going to take Roy Nelson?
No, I think Roy Nelson is going to take Crocop to the ground and beat him that way. That's my personal opinion.
I think they're going to. I think Roy Nelson's going to stand up with him.
You think so?
Yep. Because I don't think he's going to have the stamina or the strength to get him down.
Right now, but Vegas is leaning with me. They have Nelson as the favorite. George is going to go with the underdog. Now, moving on to a fight that I find very interesting. And George, you hear how George is grunting, sound like a grizzly bear. This is going to be about Czech Kongo versus Matt Mitrione. Now, I've been high on Matt Mitrione. Yep. I've been like, Matt Mitrione.
He got Mitrione in his bung.
Packing him up.
Now, me, on the other hand, I am not high on his opponent. I'm not a big fan of Kongo's. I think he got really lucky against Pat Barry, and he did get lucky. One-dimensional guy, and I think Mitrione's got him.
Now, with that being said, I agree. I think that he pulled it off. Call it luck or call it whatever you want to. The ability to stay in a fight. The bottom line is Czech Kongo did show us one thing: he can knock your ass out.
Yeah, he's got power, but I think Mitrione's got a head like a cinder block.
I do too. I like Matt Mitrione. I think he's one of the upcoming heavyweights. Stars. You said rising stars in the UFC heavyweight class. So I'm going to go with Matt Mitrione.
Here's a question. Mm-hmm. Let's say Mitrione wins this.
Okay.
Okay. Where does that put him in the title picture type of thing? Does he have to then fight, fight a Brock Lesnar and beat him to then get a shot at the belt?
I think the perfect situation obviously you've got the Brock Lesnar and
Dos Santos.
Brock Lesnar and Alistair.
Obviously, the winner of that has a shot at the title.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should fight if
the loser of that. Mm-hmm. Either the loser of that, I think he should fight. Yeah.
Or fight Dos Santos. Because I think Dos Santos is going to lose.
Right, to Cain Velasquez. Well, but I think he should fight the loser of one of those two fights. Either the loser of the Dos Santos Velasquez fight or the loser of the Lesnar
fight. I think if he has that fight and he wins either one of them, let him fight for the title, who I think Cain Velasquez will still have.
Yeah.
I don't think out of those three guys, Lesnar, Dos Santos, and Overeem, I don't think any of them can beat Cain. Yeah. I think Cain is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's an incredible wrestler. And I think a lot of people that say the fact that we're like catapulting Matt Mitrione into the status. I think Matt Mitrione has a lot of skills.
Dude, we've seen worse fighters with worse records just with better name recognition, i.e. Kenny Florian. Right. Kenny Florian is now 0 for 3 in title fights. Do we need to see it? No. Yeah. John Fitch is 0 and forever in title fights.
Just because you have a crazy status in the UFC or you've been a proven athlete in the UFC for X amount of years, that does not mean that you're the best, title contender. It just doesn't, man. You've seen, Lesnar. Lesnar was a WWE wrestler and he went within 4 or 5 bouts to becoming the champion.
I think 2. I think his second or third fight was for the belt, and he won it. But I don't know. It's interesting. I think Mitrione, if he wins this fight and then faces one of the top 5 guys and beats them, it's time. Right. Just let him go. He's undefeated. Mm-hmm. He's not a chump.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be an exciting fucking fight because you got 2 guys that just don't give a fuck.
Well, I think if you've been watching the videos leading up to this, I think BJ Penn's like, why is the media doing this? Like, he sat there and did a thing on his own webpage and going, look, they came at me and they're interviewing me and they're trying to get me to badmouth Diaz. And he's like, I don't have any problems with Diaz.
Right.
And I'm like, all right. And I know for all you people that sounds strange because my dislike towards the other gentleman we spoke about last week, Chael Sonnen. But, I don't know. I think if Diaz wins this impressively, hands down, his next fight will be against the winner of the Condit GSP fight.
Yeah, these guys are in a lot of ways very similar. They both are great at BJJ on the ground. They both can submit you. They both have pretty decent takedown defense, and they both have good hands. Believe it or not, well, it's not believe it or not, but BJ Penn is a favorite going into this fight.
To me, that's shocking.
I don't agree with it. BJ Penn is an incredible champion, but there's a couple things that makes me think that Nick Diaz. Now, could BJ Penn just outclass him and get the decision? Absolutely. And I think if that's how it goes, that's how it'll go down. You know what I mean? But Nick Diaz is nasty on the fucking ground. I mean, he can submit the shit out of you. He is lengthy and he's crafty as shit with his hands. He knows how to establish his jab. I think that could give BJ Penn a lot of problems because of the length.
I think he's going to keep BJ Penn at distance. And then BJ Penn's going to have to close the distance. And if he closes the distance and get inside, he has the power to give this guy a fit.
And maybe
so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Me, in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, BJ Penn comes out, dominates him for 15 rounds, just embarrasses him, and then he retires. That would be me. That's what I would love to see, because I think BJ Penn is pretty much going, you know what? I'm kind of done doing this.
As much as a fan as I am of BJ Penn, I want to see some mix up in the welterweight division. So I would like to see Diaz beat him handily, and then I'd like to see probably Diaz fight. GSP, because more than likely he will be Condit. I mean,
now if BJ Penn wins this handily, do you say, hey, look, if you want to stay around, your next fight will be a title fight?
You know what? I mean, it's happened. You know what I mean?
And that's got to be the only way BJ Penn stays around. I mean, to be honest.
And I think BJ Penn's like, okay, I've had enough of GSP. You know what I mean?
But what if it's Condit?
That would be great. I would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? And I know all the GSP fanboys are probably like, why? I mean, I just want to see a mix-up.
I think the winner of this welterweight bout is going to be offered a title shot, no matter which one it is.
Right.
And Dana White is surprisingly come out and going, look, I understand Nick Diaz is different, and he's like, I'm going to have to handle him different. He's even gone so far as, look, show up to the pressers, don't say anything.
Right.
But you got to be there.
Turn into a fucking mute.
Right. And you know what? That's big of Dana, because Dana has been very staunch in his views and staunch in his opinions, and that's fine.
Hamill imitation.
Do what?
Nothing.
I didn't hear what you said. Now, that leads us to why everyone in the continental United States of America and Canada is going to be tuning into this fight. And for you people who this fight's at Mandalay Bay, which is shocking to me,
right? Because
the Canuck is coming down to America.
No, it's two types of fans right now, and when GSP fights, there are, and people look at us and kind of smile and be like, yeah, they're fucking right. There are the people that love GSP. Now, George and I both have a tremendous GSP.
I have a lot of respect
for him. GSP. Great athlete, one of the best.
He has the for a non-wrestler, for a UFC fighter, best shot in the UFC, and he's not even a wrestler. I mean, you can't even argue that.
Right.
If you had to pick somebody's shot, his single and double leg takedown, best one in UFC, period.
Great guy, classy guy, obviously, because he's well-spoken, good-looking. I mean, the guy, that's why he has loads of endorsements, and people come in wanting them to endorse their products because he's a great representative of the sport. Now, that's with all that being said, and he's got a huge fan base, probably the largest fan base. There's also the people out there who want to see him get beat.
It's no difference in Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
Either you love Floyd Mayweather or you love to hate FloydMayweather. And I think the same thing applies for GSP. That's when you know you're huge.
Right.
It's like the Yankees or Notre Dame or any of those. Because it's who do we tune in to watch these people lose, or we tune in to watch them win.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you don't like the athlete. It just means that you like to see a mix-up. You like to see some changes. Now, there's also been, I think, if you watch the people that love GSP and wanted to see GSP win, 2 years ago it was up here. Now you talk, and the people that want to see him lose was maybe down here. Now what we've seen is this slowly creep up. And there's no fucking denying that. And I think that's because ever since he had his fight with Matt Cyr, he's been a little bit more conservative in his fighting. It is his style. He is great at doing it. He's an incredible wrestler. He is a great technician. But the bottom line is that at produces fights that are not the most exciting fight. There will be some wrestler from the Midwest who will be like, well, how in the fuck can't you call that exciting, man? That's the best fucking wrestling I ever seen, man. He take that son of a bitch down there, ground and pound him all day.
Because it's mixed martial arts, and there's more to it than wrestling. This isn't a wrestling match.
Right.
Now, with that said, his opponent is not a slouch. Carlos Condit is 27-5, 13 wins by knockout, 13 wins by submission.
Right.
So that means he only won, for you math majors out there, 13 and 13 is 26. So that means he won one fight by decision. So it looks like Condit is probably going to try to push this and try to end it.
I think that will definitely, I think Carlos Condit basically is going to say, I'm going to attack GSP. I think this is one guy that you're going to, and he has the ability to stand up skills a lot different from the fight we saw the last GSP fight where he fought Jake Shields. Jake Shields, great BJJ technician, but his hands were just subpar.
And
you know what I mean?
Condit's considerably bigger. He's 4 inches bigger than GSP. Condit's 6'2", GSP's 5'10".
So he's going to be fighting somebody that's lengthy for once.
Yeah.
So I think
maybe you know what? When GSP came out and said that this fight would be tougher than fighting Diaz, maybe he was on to something.
He might have been
you know
on to
what?
something.
Looking at the stats and look at Condit's track record, he's fought some decent guys and won.
Yeah.
So and put it this way, GSP's fought everyone and won at 170. So
I think this is gonna call for a very exciting welterweight championship fight.
I got this fight ending in the 4th round.
Who you got winning?
I don't know. I don't see this fight going the distance. Even though I know it's GSP, I have a feeling that this fight's going to be over in the 4th round. I can't call a winner. I really can't.
I think this is going to be the first fight, and I agree with you 100% where it is not going to go to distance.
No.
I think one or two things are going to happen. I think GSP.
I think he's going to get caught.
Will wear him out, or he could get caught. And
that's it. You know what? I'm going to Condit 4th round. It's
Condit
going to
4th
beat GSP.
Yeah.
I think he's going to catch him.
I don't even know how to say. I would be a pussy if I didn't just say what I think.
Say what you think. Because let's be honest, we know what's going to happen. GSP's going to come out, try to establish a jab, and he's going to bam, bam, move, and then in that last 30 seconds, he's going to try to take him down. That's GSP's. That's what he's done. That's what he's continued to do, and he hasn't proved me wrong. Because if we go back and look at his last 5 or 6 fights, that's what he does.
Yeah.
The last person he tried to finish was Dan Hardy. He tried for an armbar in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't tried to finish.
I mean,
to
me, it's very simple. If GSP wins the fight, he's going to win a decision. If he does not win the fight via decision, Condit wins the fight. Condit wins the fight. I can't see Condit winning a decision.
No,
I can't see GSP finishing Condit off. So I'm going to have to probably go with, you know what? I'm going to have to kind of go backtrack and say it'll probably be GSP decision.
Okay, I'm going Condit 4th round.
Yeah. Now.
So that's UFC 137. And let's face it, this card, top to bottom, is going to be entertaining and worth Kevin spending $60 on.
Yes, it is. Especially after I got my cable bill and almost shit myself the other. That shit was like, would you like to make a payment plan to pay your September payment bill? Cable bill. Now that also will be, like I said at the beginning, it is just a series of UFC events that are going to go all the way until New Year's. I mean, it's going to be an exciting 2 months.
Now, I'm throwing this in here at the end to throw Kevin off a little bit, but for all you people who are still watching the UFC segment, who is your favorite? Who's the fighter you love to hate?
Yeah.
So let's see if you follow this.
Yeah.
If you watch the show enough. Chael Sonnen is one of mine. Now, I don't disrespect him. I'm not saying that you hate his skills. I'm just saying you have a fighter that you want to tune in and you want to watch lose. Right. I don't care.
Right.
I want to see GSP lose. I want to see Chael Sonnen lose.
Yeah.
I want to see Frank Mir lose. Those are the guys I tune in. I love to hate.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not disrespecting them. I'm not liking their talent. I'm not saying they're great fighters.
Oh, yeah.
But there's people you tune in to watch lose.
Everybody watching the show right now knows that there is somebody out there that they want to see lose. They tune in just to say, I hope this motherfucker gets his ass whipped. That's the question. What UFC fighter do you want to see lose?
For me, it's Sonnen, GSP, and Mir. Those are my 3. And again, I'm not taking anything away from them. But those are the guys I tune in to watch lose.
Lose?
Yep. And you?
Sonnen, GSP, and
do you have a 3rd?
I don't know if I do right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do. At one point, as much as I liked him, but and I think a lot of it has to do with their fans. When their fans start getting annoying, it was Fedor, which probably every Russian is probably like fucking got a hit on me now. But like you said, I mean, those guys are all great. Man, I got a tremendous amount of respect for them and their ability to fight. I mean, it's, even with Chael Sonnen, man, he says things. We know he's promoting fights.
Great wrestler.
He's a great wrestler.
You people,
right.
The fans out there.
What do you mean, you people?
They really got on me saying that I don't like Chael Sonnen. It's not that, and it's not a matter of, I'm not disrespecting his ability. Great wrestler, hands down. But let's
stop.
I'd like to see him
hammer time. Because when the camera goes off, George will be like, "I hate that motherfucker."
No, I won't. No. Great wrestler. But here's something I'd honestly like to see: chill with the steroids. Stop taking the test, even though I know it's prescribed and you're legally doing it. Stop taking it and let's see how strong you are. And for you people who have never used steroids before, I'm not condoning it, but that shit makes a world of difference in your strength levels.
Let me tell you something. It's not just so much your strength levels and your stamina levels and stuff. When you're fucking on the sauce, the bottom line is that you're like, I am fucking invincible to some degree. You
Invincible?
Invincible, not fencible. Oh, put a fucking fence around me and shit. They're pretty much both. But you think I'm invincible. You think, okay, you know what? You have a crazy amount of confidence, and that should translate when you're fighting. I mean,
and Kevin and I both know there's a legal way to use steroids in the UFC, and that's fine. You've got to fill out all your paperwork, get your right doctors. Congratulations. But anyway, back to our question: who's the fighter you love to hate?
Right now,
or fighters.